Hello, hackers, and welcome back. You've all done a great job of decoding the genre of the Digital Community Information Report blog using the various examples. Now, for this week, we're going to further our research, and by the end of the week, you'll hopefully have the rough draft of your Digital Community Informational Report blog uploaded so that we can begin peer review next week. So what I want you to do by Wednesday is to review 4 of your peers' research. Now, the syllabus says your group will be assigned, but I'm just going to do like we did last time, and you're going to review the 4 that are below you in the list. That seemed to work out okay. You're going to look at your peers' research on their digital community, and you're going to answer a couple questions. Does this research give you an understanding of that digital community? Do you understand it a little bit better based on the research? And what follow-up research do you think your colleague should do? Whether that be observations, interviews, or surveys that would be helpful in understanding that community a little bit better. And if you're at the bottom of the list and you run out of people to respond to who are below you, you can just move up to the top. Now, in responding to that research, right, you're looking to see how your colleague might augment the research that they have already done. It could mean that they might do another observation, right? If they got really good data on their observation, you might suggest that they do another observation. Or interview a second person about the group. If your colleague did surveys, you might suggest that they tried the method that they didn't say they did a survey and observation. Well, you might suggest that they do an interview to help round out the data. Because what we're looking for is that you guys have enough data to work with to get this rough draft done, and then hopefully enough data to really expand that rough draft to the 1,000-word blog that it needs to be. These 3 types of primary research are really at the heart of what you're doing for this netnography or this digital informational report blog, but you can also do a little bit of other research to really help round out your report. And one of these types of research could simply be taken from the About page of the forum or the group that you are researching. So you could go to the About page and then summarize that About page. What the group says about itself is pretty important to understanding that group. You could also quote bits that you think the group the person who created the group and created that About page said in a way that you really have a hard time saying better, right? So that's just one way you can bring in a little bit of extra research in a very, without doing a whole lot of extra work to make sure you have enough data to be able to create that report. What we're hoping to do is get enough data about this community so that you can extrapolate from what you have and be able to inform us about that digital community in your blog. So I love this meme, this joke. You see the cat there with the glasses, and the meme says there are only 2 types of people: those who can extrapolate from incomplete data. And the meme leaves us hanging. It leaves us hanging because that's the joke, right? To be able to extrapolate from the incomplete data of this meme, we should know that the other type of people that they're referring to are those who cannot extrapolate from incomplete data. So I love this joke, and but I think it's also it's important in that we need to focus on how we can use the data to make sense of the community. The word extrapolate is just a fancy way of saying take some very specific data and make some broader points about it. So what you're doing is taking very specific data from just a little bit of research, and you're trying to make a bigger point about the digital community based on that data. Now that, because you guys have not done months of research on these communities, I'm sure you could write you would have a much more complete data set if you had done, months of research, but we don't have time for that, right? And I think that you can still take this little bit of data that you have and be able to say something meaningful about the digital community that you're researching. So hopefully everyone here, you're the type of people who can extrapolate from the data that you have already gathered. So once you have responded to your colleagues' research and given them hints on where they could expand their research to be able to have as much data as possible, you want to do that by Wednesday, so that way they have a little bit of help in drafting that first 500 words of the rough draft of their informational report. And in drafting that informational report, that digital community informational report, I want you to refer back to all the hacking tools we've picked out for this genre. So you can go back to the Hacking Tools 3 and 4 discussion board. This is, I pulled this word cloud from the Hacking Tools number 3 discussion board, right? You guys picked out some very good components of what should be in an informational report. Now, that doesn't mean that your informational report has to have all of those components. I would mention specifically the review of scholarship that you pointed out in Gallant Nimrod's article on the fun culture in elderly online communities, right? That isn't something I'm expecting you to do. That's a lot of research that she did and summarized. I'm not expecting that. What I am expecting are some of those other fundamental parts of the report, right? One way to be able to get a good amount of word count on this is to explain your methodology, right? The section for methodology, all you're doing is explaining how you went about gathering this data, explaining how you set up the interviews, how you decided on the interview questions, how you did your observations, right? So that is a good example of a section in your report that you don't want to leave out. But also, you guys have pointed out some great other sections, specifically strong introductions and strong conclusions about the data. So I want you to look back over those informational report examples I gave you. Look back over the hacking tools that you and your colleagues picked out in this genre in the Hacking Tools 3 and 4 discussion board, and create your own informational report based on the digital community that you've done research on. Okay. Well, I hope you guys have a good time expanding your research and getting those first drafts done. And if you have any questions or concerns, please email me, call me, shoot me a message on CNM Learn. Or if you need some more help, you can come by my office hours or email me to set up a time that we can do a one-on-one chat session. All right, hackers, I hope to see you online.